the words of Guru Arjanji. And I think we really need to reflect on these words, especially as one Sikh, when I was visiting Pakistan, said, Sikhs are walking through the jungle, and only when a branch hits them will they know that they're in the jungle. Sikhs are living in dark times, and there has often been a taking for granted exercising of power by the state on minorities in India. And I think the extradition case involving Bhai Pamma is a very good indicator of how, in fact, the times are changing, and that the light of tortured bodies is now being highlighted to the public. Bhai Pamma's body was an artifact and evidence for the world to see the torture that has been inflicted on Sikhs in many time periods. But what I think is important is the Indian state will continue to exercise its power. And this is actually a time that Sikhs need to be even more vigilant, because the strategies of colonial systems has been let one group feel they have won, and underneath are brewing something very profound. We cannot forget that the Indian nation state, since its inception, following partition, was founded on violence. The states that were held together, that are called United India, were held united by policies that forced those people not to contest the unity of India. This is how violence began. The Indian state laws in northern Punjab, where it's considered an exceptional space, enabled continued human rights inflictions on Sikhs. What we have to recognize, if Sikhs want to survive today, and recognizing the diversity of Sikhs in the world, they have to recognize one element, and that is, as it was done for Bhindranwale, that Gurbani is what gave him the mind of steel. And this mind of steel is what the state feared, which is exactly why in the Anandpur resolution, Sikhs still do not have freedom to go to Pakistan, because the state knows how powerful that is for Sikhs. I myself, having been there, felt the power. The major problem today for Sikhs is their blindness. Bhindranwale tried to enlighten people, and he succeeded. Even people that converted to the Nationalist movement reconverted back or became Sikhs again. Today, the state is controlling your body through your thinking, through the systems, through the institutions. And I want to say very good evidence for that, for me, was yesterday when I was at the event for Phoolka. I do respect the fact that he was a witness and tried to do something with his witnessing. But I hear Sikhs saying, shame, shame on the Indian state, because there hasn't been justice. My question is to these illusioned Sikhs, is if you had an Indian Prime Minister who probably was a token individual, and if you had members of the judiciary that were Sikh, why after 31 years do you have to compromise and ask for symbolic justice? That tells you how difficult it is to penetrate the nation state. And I have to say the disillusion of Sikhs today is coming from false leadership. Groups that are forming, that are suggesting and giving hopes to Sikhs that they can actually have a free Akal Takht within the state of India. Look at the history. My Sikh brothers and sisters, go back to the history books and then decide whether it really is possible. I am more objective. I wasn't raised in a Sikh family. I was raised by a German mother. And I have studied Sikh history. And I've traveled the world for 10 years. And I can say my research is with the attitude of the nation state of India and the violence it's founded on, Sikh sovereignty, and the Panth independent entity will not thrive in the current institution, in the current system. So Sikhs have to start to contest any government or political group that is disillusioning Sikhs to believe that that is possible. And that's why I urge people to really go back to Sikh history. And also when we have governments that are not giving free space to Sikhs in the context of Khalistan, we have to ask ourselves, Guru Nanak in his time treated every person with respect, even though we might not have agreed with their viewpoint. If Phoolka, who I'm very disappointed with in his articulation of Sikhs that advocate for Khalistan being called radical Sikhs, my question to supporters and to Sikhs and the Panth is, if you want a leader, you want a leader that also respects the difference. People don't have to agree with Khalistan, but they have no right to disrespect it. And those people whose bodies have been tortured, who were eye-count witnesses of the violence, would understand the quest is not illegitimate. And when I look at the domestication of Sikhs today, who have sold themselves for ego, for making money, that is exactly the danger today. And the defiant subjectivity, people look to Bhindranwale. But ask yourself, why was it that he was so powerful? It was the impact that he left with the people. How many people eventually became Amritari? It's because he also was not only a sant, but he also acted out. And the one element that I want you to remember today in the leadership is the imperative for the Panth, or is the imperative that you want power? Bhindranwale, his imperative was to protect the Panth, and he used all the means that he could to achieve it. I do not know how people can advocate for political positions in India today as advocates for Sikh issues within the Indian state, because the state will continue to domesticate them, and they would never be able to illuminate the Gujarat violence, the violence against Christians in Odissi and in other places. So I want to conclude with a couple of thoughts, and that is that Sikhs are gaining momentum with social media. The Portuguese consulates and other members within the judiciary could not extradite Pamma back to India because the evidence was so available. It was so accessible. It would have been an embarrassment to the world. So that has been a space that Sikhs have claimed, and this is only the beginning. So to achieve this further, we need to actually set the bar higher and show India that a nation, Sikh nation, could be the solution to all the problems of discrimination, of violence, and of humiliation on bodies that reside in the Indian state. And this is a very simple thought, but a powerful word from Guru Nanak Ji, who said, "Everyone is my friend." And this is what the state has forgotten. And again, if we ask ourselves, who are we? We are brothers and sisters and followers of Guru Granth Sahib. And that is the guide, and that is the nourishment for your mind of steel. So wake up and really ask yourself, is this person working for the Panth, or is this for their own ego? Because this is the darkness that Sikhs need to see through. And I want to end with some inspiring words from a mentor in Pakistan who said to me when I was feeling very discouraged in doing work in the Sikh community. He said, "Vahi Guru will give you the light to see goodness and to inspire love and power courage to say and resist inequality. But he will also shine light on the dark people that are dividing and misleading the people. And I pray to Bhai Guru today and for the days to come that that light will be shone for you. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.